and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but time to sit a while. There is a fair lady in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips are own she has there I can. They're sorry for my going away, and of all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night, and God be with you all. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and God be with you all.
Hello, welcome to Revive Hi-Fi Canada, and our latest episode is the Keeper Series Part 2 with the Definitive Technology Studio Monitor 45 SM45. We had Part 1 where we discussed the build and the sound quality of the speakers. Now we're just talking about the amp pairing. These speakers are pretty interesting. They have quite a unique design, as I discussed in the last video, and maybe that has a little bit to do with how they perform with the different amps. When we went with the first Class D amp, the Fousey Audio TB10D, that amp was actually surprisingly smooth. These speakers are pretty robust when it comes to the type of amp that you want to use with them. They actually responded quite well to the Fousey Audio TB10D, and the treble was quite smooth. The voices were very smooth. The bass was pretty pronounced, and I have the treble and the bass on the Fousey Audio knobs right at the middle. It's pretty nice. Very surprising sound. Then we moved to the Martin Logan Forte amp, and that is their Wi-Fi amp. That's the second amp below the tiny little amp at the top. It's got its light on, you can see right there, the blue light and the white light. And that amp surprisingly usually performs better in many of my tests than the Fousey Audio TB10D, but in this case, with this particular speaker pairing, I actually preferred the Fousey Audio TB10D, which is quite odd. I found that the treble got slightly rougher, and you have to keep in mind that this is with the room correction turned off on this amp. This amp is really neat. It has room correction on it, so that's something we're going to be discussing in a future review. But these speakers, the Definitive Technology SM45, responded a little differently to the Martin Logan Forte as compared to other speakers we've tried. They still sound fine, but I would actually prefer, at least in my opinion, I preferred the Fousey Audio TB10D, which is, I think this might be the first one of these where I actually preferred the Fousey compared to the Martin Logan. So that's something interesting. Then we switched to the rougher treble with the Martin Logan compared to the Fousey Audio. Then we switched to the Class AB amp from the Class D Martin Logan Forte and the Fousey Audio TB10D. We now went to the Marantz 4320, and that amp is, of course, really, it sounds very nice. It has Marantz sound I love, and that amp brought out, it sounded different. So the treble wasn't too different than what I heard on the Fousey, and the Marantz is at 80 watts per channel, has a higher headroom, of course, and the Marantz receivers seem to bring out a little bit more of the depth of the sound. So the sound was bigger, the sound stage was bigger. I guess it's more watts, but at the same time, it's not just watts. I heard more of the depth and the details of the sound. These speakers are very good, and they sound quite neutral when it comes to the sound, and you actually tend to get what you put in is what you get out, as I said on the previous part of this review in part 1, and these are no different. In this case, it's no different with the Marantz putting together a little bit better of a package, I guess, of sound that it sent to the Definitive Technology speakers. And I was expecting a similar situation with the Cayenne when we switched to the Cayenne, which is 100 watts per channel integrated amplifier, which is at the bottom, and I didn't get that, actually, to be honest with you. I found the Marantz sounded better in this case than the Cayenne, and the Cayenne is a very neutral sounding amp. I use it on most of my videos, and I expected it to maybe do a little better than it did with these speakers, neutral speaker, neutral amp, but it seemed that the Marantz, this particular Marantz model I find has a bit of a sparkle to its treble, and it seemed to play very well with the DefTech speakers. So in this case, I preferred the Marantz to the Cayenne, but it was pretty close. So the smoothness of the Marantz was quite pronounced, and the sparkle in the treble without making it sound harsh on these particular speakers is something that this particular receiver I find excels in, and it does a pretty good job, I would say. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what sums it up. These speakers, and when it comes to actually scaling up with the sound, it did a little bit. I would say with the Marantz and the Cayenne, the soundstage depth was much bigger than with the Class D, but that's not saying the Class D sounded badly. None of them really sounded bad, but the Fosi audio was quite impressive with these speakers, so it kind of gives you an idea where, like, I've used these on my desktop with the Fosi audio, and it sounded quite good. So the sound signature of these is really quite, just it's very much what you put in is what you get out. So it's pretty nice, actually. When you come to think of it, it'll expose your source of music, and it has gobs of detail that come out of it. It's a very well made speaker. So thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoy these videos. If you like these videos, please subscribe, and see you again next time on Revive Hi-Fi Canada. Bye now.